You believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mock my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really Iron Man, Mr. Stark?
And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Tim D-O-double-G. And the man behind the sound effects is at Agent_70 on Twitter.
What's up, everybody? I, Verily.
You verily what?
I said I, Verily. It's a Thor inside thing. Old school Simonson scripting. We'll get to that soon.
And we also have at RaddyCat on Twitter.
Hey, we're getting on this big ship here. You want to come with?
Yeah.
And once again, this is the Comic Book Chronicles. You can go to our website, thekliqnation.com, where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and comic book news. On the homepage are links to our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+. You can also subscribe to the Comic Book Chronicles podcast by going to iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, and we are also a part of the CSPN podcast conglomerate. Go to cspn.us. Do it today. And make sure to buy Comic Book Chronicles merchandise by going to shop.cspn.us. Remember, we record live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Go to thekliqnation.com/live. And if you're on social media talking comics, join the conversation by using the hashtags Comic Book Chronicles or CBChron. So last night saw the United States premiere of Thor Ragnarok, which we all three saw.
Yes, we did.
Very short applause. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I cut it off because I do have some gripes. We won't spoil too much, though.
Let's hear your gripes.
All right. So I hate to start out on a bad note. I did enjoy the movie. Let me get that straight. I did have a good time watching it. I did laugh a lot. But as the show's resident fan of the Walt Simonson run on Thor, the epic, monumental run on Thor, the trendsetter, the standard setter, being a fan of that and seeing moments of his entire run, which spanned 4 years worth of books, seeing moments homaged and redone and even lampooned, in my opinion, kind of hurt me. Like I actually hurt at certain points watching this, watching the movie. I'm going to ring the spoiler bell because some of the stuff we may say may end up going into spoiler territory. So listeners and viewers may want to tune out for a little while or fast forward when you get this on your favorite podcast application so that you can miss out on being spoiled. But anyway, I felt like the way they treated some of the characters like Scourge, the Executioner, and even and even some of the more secondary and even tertiary Thor characters, some of the supporting characters, I thought caught real short shrift, and honestly, without really making it a pun, it's the truth. Some of them really got shafted. So, I saw Roddy Cat like nod and be like, yeah, you know what? That's actually a good description of what happened to some of them.
Yeah, just very directly to some of them, actually.
Right. So, like, and I'm referring to some of the characters who, like the real diehard comic fans know, like the Warriors 3.
Yeah, I thought that part was kind of treated a little like they just kind of came and went, almost like they did, Freya in Dark World.
Right. So I mean, even that, even in that regard, Frigga actually. Oh, is it Frigga?
Yeah, it was Freya, but Freya, same person.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to. I couldn't remember exactly. My Norse mythology is rusty, but ultimately, those were the times when I had to turn what I was telling my friends. I went with a bunch of friends. I had to tell my friends I had to turn my comic book fan brain off and just enjoy the spectacle and enjoy, the fun. And I thought that was, listen, in times like these when, we're like bombarded with tough news, it's nice to just be able to sit back and just laugh and enjoy a good story, which it was, in the sense that it had a beginning, middle, and end. It developed the characters that, many of the characters had very clear arcs that kind of took them from where they had been, somewhere within the two first films to a definitive, story end in the third film. And I give Taika Waititi a lot of credit for that. But
apparently, fairly decent part in the movie.
Right. So, that being said, I had to turn my comic book fan brain off, my Thor fan, my Simonson fan specifically brain off.
So here's where I'm going to say this to that part. And as you well know, these comic book movies are not made for the comic book fans. There's going to be a whole bunch of, and I feel like this is probably going to bite me in the ass in a couple of months, but nevertheless, these movies are not made for the diehard comic book fans. There's enough homages there to, just be dangerous, but they weren't going to go accurate with it. Like I said, you already know that part.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more for the entertainment value and for the general movie going, the crowd than it is for,
no, of course,
comic book fans. So yeah, there was going to be some expected creative license going into the movie.
Right.
And it was a good bit for certain.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. So,
but that said, the movie was quite entertaining. It was light enough. Yeah, I could see where there was been, like I said, as I was coming out of the last night, there was some people who really didn't like how Thor was portrayed and how Hulk specifically was portrayed, especially the way he talked. But I did love the homages in between them, and like all the ones you could pick up. And I'm pretty sure there's some miss, and even I would dare say a couple of video game references and a couple of more action heavy scenes that kind of tickled me. But
I'm surprised I'm surprised a person had an issue with Hulk.
Yeah, like it was like I enjoyed the Hulk part, but they were like, no, man, this is like Hulk is, Hulk when he had his brain talk this way and that way and the way they had him and blah blah blah. I'm like, all right, dude.
Yeah, I was about to say this Hulk is like one of the in between versions.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of wielding Banner's intelligence, and being articulate, right?
Yeah,
because he had, I guess it's a story point in the movie, but it's mostly Hulk in charge, so there's not going to be like waxing poetic going on. So,
right. I want to say, wasn't that Ultimate the way he was dressed? Wasn't that Ultimate Hulk? And it was one of the better. Well, there's a few. One of the best lines in the movie has to do with Hulk in a particular position or location when Thor finds him. So which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's entertaining. We find out they kind of gloss over one relationship and don't bring up another.
Mm-hmm.
There is some news on that later on in the news section.
So Tim, like, what did did you have any kind of real issues with the movie, or what did you really like about it?
I guess if you were looking for all the Simonson-esque things, you could have a gripe with the elimination of characters and whatnot. But I feel like, especially with the MCU movies, they'll take a theme from the comics, but then make it unique where it stands apart from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you had some Simonson stuff, some things from Kirby, some Planet Hulk played a big factor.
Yeah, shout out to Chris Rock.
Lots of various nuggets of goodness to be picked and sort of molded together to make an entirely new adventure.
Right.
So fans of the comics can't just know what the story's going to be word, not word for word, but sort of scene for scene.
Right.
Everyone gets a new experience out of it. And I know a lot of people going in were griping about it being too many laughs, too many jokes, not letting the serious moments linger without a gag following right behind it. And that does happen from time to time, but I felt like it was blown out of proportion. And the stuff that needed to be serious did get serious moments, in my opinion. So I had no problems with the amount of jokes included. It wasn't over the top like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 got, I believe. I think they went overboard with it in that.
Mm.
But let's see, other little quick thoughts. So basically they tore Thor's world down, tear everything down to build it back up again. So some characters are gone and new supporting characters are introduced moving forward. So that's cool. I like these people better because they felt like we got background and spent time with them. So at least I feel more attached to a character or two more than some other people in Thor's 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of those characters actually won't be missed by me because they didn't really do much to begin with.
Right. Obviously, my attachment to some of these characters stems from their comic book counterparts, but ultimately, with the elimination, like you said, they're able to restart the Thor saga if they end up doing a 4th movie in a completely new direction. So,
mm-hmm.
I'm slightly surprised that we didn't see, although the middle end credit, obviously takes us into the next movie, but I'm kind of surprised they didn't have some kind of cameo going into Broxton or something.
Yeah, I thought, and see, that's the comics folks. That's immediately what we thought about.
Exactly.
But we may not get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, swerve.
Exactly.
But we they were, or are, I guess we should say, on the way to Earth. I guess that's kind of a spoiler too, but
doesn't say who's going to Earth.
Exactly.
But overall, I thought even with everything that went on with it, and it went pretty fast and didn't necessarily lose anything in how fast it was. And I know this is like the shortest film Marvel wise.
No, they revised that. It's actually yeah.
Isn't it like 2.5 hours or something?
Exactly. Like it ended up being it ended up being the longest Thor film. I remember what you're referring to. I think it was Waiti was talking about how, I guess I was at San Diego, like this is going to be the shortest Marvel film, and it ended up being, they ended up putting in a lot of jokes and like kind of other material they had initially cut, because when they tested it, I think that's in one of the news stories, when they tested it, it ended up being terrible. So they put a lot of the stuff back in that helped to provide comedy and context.
I still didn't, but it didn't feel like it was.
It didn't drag. It definitely did not drag.
And like it just pretty much kept it moving. So that was appreciated. The only thing,
I did like that. Nothing, like you said, lingered. Just everything moved at a fast pace.
Right.
And there was no, unlike Age of Ultron, there weren't no
lulls.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Before we move on, there are a couple of really strong points to the movie. I really liked how Kate Blanchett kind of chewed up every scene she was in. Like her delivery was awesome. Yeah. Like she just has that. She's got that commanding delivery, and her voice cuts through like everything.
I just felt like she wasn't in enough scenes.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The along those lines, the scourge stuff. I was like, yeah, they kind of handled that kind of weird. I thought we were probably going to get some kind of enchantress kind of intro, knowing that the character kind of,
how they're related. But there's too many characters. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, but they could have been setting up maybe a possible other movie in the future. But yeah, it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case.
Right. So, ultimately, right. Like ultimately, that was, like we kind of figured that we weren't going to get a Mora, the Enchantress, together with Scourge in this movie because it would just be too crowded, unless there was like another secondary villain, but it didn't happen like that.
This was the equivalent of Winter Soldier as far as what it did for the MCU and for the Cap franchise.
Well, at the very least, the Thor part for certain,
right?
Because after Dark World, it kind of was in a not great spot.
Agreed.
Seemingly. So it definitely picked up that part. And I guess on those lines, before we move forward, what would you guess? What would be the rating of the 3 Thors at this point?
Oh, this comes first, and then the first one, then the middle one is last.
Yeah.
Okay. On to reviews.
All right.
With the first one being the Marvel Legacy Captain America number 695. And I get the cover going here.
Oh, shoot. No, I forgot something.
Or do I have covers? No, I don't.
Oh, no.
This was last week's covers.
So while we're looking for covers, this Legacy book is essentially the relaunch of the Captain America character in the Marvel U post Secret Empire. At the helm of the ship are the creators behind some seminal runs of Daredevil. That would be Mark Waid and Chris Samney with Matt Wilson on colors. So without getting into the previous the immediately previous history of the character, we open the book with flashbacks, and without really knowing that there's one particular sequence set as a flashback until like we're talking like 11 or 12 pages into the book, and I thought that was cool because
I like that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool because it was a nice kind of like fully formed, story. In that, we got like this kind of like typical Cap story, and not knowing, and it was kind of teased that it might be present day, but then we find out it's not.
And a new terroristic group is introduced.
Right. It's kind of retconned into Marvel lore, but at the same time, it's familiar territory for the character.
Mm-hmm. So good all around. I found.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it. I have to
road trip.
Sure, I have to admit to being a little misty-eyed.
I ain't get misty-eyed, but
only because it's been so long since current day, present day Cap has kind of been like this. So, I was just kind of glad to see it back
in his original outfit.
Right.
Okay. Did you also read Avengers 673?
I did.
I did not, but that's already read it, so.
Yep, I did.
You guys can dive into that.
So yeah, so this is the what is the third part of that Champions crossover. We get a little more action here, and we get a little more exposition on what's going on and what the High Evolutionary is trying to do between the two Earths. Falcon and Viv are on Counter Earth, while the rest of the team are trying to figure out how to get them back. Vision is quite emotional about his daughter being gone. And without spoiling anything, if any story dealing with the High Evolutionary is going to do with him trying to improve or upgrade someone, in which he attempts to do.
Yeah, I thought this was a little offbeat because the person that he's experimenting on isn't kind of like the normal run of the mill test subject that he uses. I didn't know that the High Evolutionary was this advanced.
Yeah, that was the thing that kind of did. Normally he would go for more
organic
beings, but apparently he considered this a challenge. And yeah, and the change he makes is interesting,
to say the least. That's a heck of a cliffhanger last page.
Yeah, indeed. So it's it'll be curious as to what brought that upon, if we even get that explanation.
Right.
So whatever all that, like I said, we get the teams two together. There's outside of that a little bit of action on our Earth, quote unquote, and whatever happens on Counter Earth. There's not much. So there's basically more blending of that. Still kind of puts me in mind of whatever happened in
Civil War II,
whatever, or yeah, basically whatever the run up was to that puts me in mind to it.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. I thought it was, I'm not a fan of the High Evolutionary, so I'm just sort of reading this.
I'm not either.
I'm
like,
sort of reading it to be like, yeah, come on, let's move on.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious where to go, because I do remember there was that annual event that was around that was Avengers focused around the High Evolution. I wonder if it had some flashbacks to that, but it doesn't seem to be so far.
Gotcha.
But just going, we got some chat. We got some chat going on here. So Gene Paul Ace Peter says, "What's up, lads? Just tuning in while I work. So what's up? How you doing?
Yo."
And he also says, High Evolutionary appeared in ALF Annual #1, greatest comic ever.
Oh my God, is that true?
I don't know.
Here we go, Google.
I'm trying to remember. Did ALF have a comic I mean, I know he had a comic, but have a Marvel comic? Actually, that would kind of make sense, though. that makes total sense.
ALF is a byproduct of the High Evolutionary.
Oh my gosh,
that would be the thing that would say.
You know what? I actually assumed that it was one of the Star comic.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
it looks like it was actually a Marvel comic.
Weird.
That's kind of nuts.
That's
if you don't know, now you know.
I know, right?
Oh, and we have our music for the night.
Oh no. No immigrant song, since it got played the heck out during during Thor Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, we could do that too. We do have there is a particular song that played a particular role. Exactly. So,
all right. What do you want to get to next?
Actually, I'll go next. Darth Vader #7.
Okay.
Up. And as I said last time, this is Vader meeting the Inquisitors, aka of Star Wars Rebels fame. If you are aware of that group, in this, he's apparently training them, but he's training them by lopping off bits and pieces of their, well, not even bits and pieces, their arms and whatnot in his quote unquote training, because he doesn't really like them too much,
Okay.
But the
He's
Emperor
a drill
has,
sergeant. Let me cut off some limbs.
and he's not too shy about it, and including the Grand Inquisitor realizes this. But what what the Inquisitors don't know is that the Emperor has Darth Vader looking for. Well, actually, they do know that they are supposed to be hunting down a particular Jedi, of which we have seen in the movies and Star Wars Clone Wars, and that is Jocasta Nu. If you know that name, she was the Jedi that was over the Jedi archives. And the what the Emperor doesn't tell the Inquisitors, but he tells Vader, is that need to hunt her down, particularly because she has information, and he wants Vader to save her life because she has information that could help and hurt them. Meanwhile, we find her getting a bunch of holocrons together and putting them together in what we thought to be an archive, but as she says during the course of the story, it's a school. So, which you could speculate that this could possibly, if it's not somehow come about in the recent Rebels storyline, could possibly show up in Last Jedi, because as we know from Star Wars lore, Luke tried to restart the Jedi Order, and things didn't go quite well, but we do know they are using still some forms of that. This could quite possibly be an allusion to that. We don't know this for a fact. This is speculation on my part. But since these holocrons and this quote-unquote school happens to come up, it's going to come up somewhere. If not in any of the other books, then probably in the Last Jedi. And we should also point out that this particular volume of Darth Vader is set right after Return of the Sith, and after Order 66 has been given and all that kind of good mess. So again, take all of that for what you will. But like I said, the basis of the story is putting all that in motion. And Vader's trip to find out this information.
Alrighty. Excuse me. Was that the only Star Trek book? Star Wars. My God, that was me clearing my throat still. Any other Star Wars books?
Wait, I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Any other Star Wars books?
Not this week, no.
Okay. And I just started off a fan rebellion, right? It's like, what's wrong with you, Agent 70?
And that's a long running one that's probably never gonna end. At least
jump over to Batman 34.
Okay.
Part 2 of the Bat and the Cat going to see the Ets.
I love how that sounds so casual, and this is anything. Yeah. This is far from a casual story.
I like that. Everyone thought them going to see Talia al Ghul had something to do with their proposal, but it's actually something that ties back to, I guess, Catwoman's first 2-part story when she popped up in Batman's Rebirth series. Yes. And Catwoman and 234, however many people it's supposed to have been that she killed, but didn't really kill, but someone did the killings in her name.
Right.
Framing her, kind of, sort of.
Right. Right. It took me a while to remember that, to be honest.
Yeah. But when they said the number, I was like, oh, yeah, because they kept, emphasizing that number over and over again. You think to the point where I'd remember it, but I just know it was 200 and something. And then we got to see Damien and Dick bonding again.
Sure.
Superman even showed up for a page or two. I like Joelle Jones's art. I think that's her name. Hopefully I said it right.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I was reading it on a gigantic iPad Pro. Maybe the effect is better in print. I had a smaller iPad, but I've liked her stuff anyway. I know she did like a
one or two issues of the Spider Women event for
Mhm.
Marvel.
Right.
She did the Supergirl Being Super miniseries.
Right. I think the washed out. I was about to say. I think the washed out backgrounds were just kind of, I guess more noticeable. Like on the bigger screen, and just I just wasn't overly impressed by some of the panel layouts. But listen, to each their own, right?
Oh yeah.
So, but like you were mentioning earlier, I was definitely taken by the swerve as to the purpose of their trip to. I don't want to say Kumar. That's from the West Wing. What's this foreign country?
It's from where Black Adam's from, right?
Kandak.
Kondak or Kandak?
Yeah, Kandak or Kandak, something like that.
I think it's that also where Jason Todd was killed. He was killed in some kind of like foreign country like that too, because that was brought up in a semi-recent issue of Red Hood and the Outlaws earlier this year.
Possibly.
Anyway.
All right. So, ultimately we have the duel we expect, and we're going to get it in the next issue.
Yep.
That's the cliffhanger. So I'm actually looking forward to that. I was very, very disappointed in seeing one Bruce Wayne go down like a punk in this issue.
Wait, is it a duel, not a cat fight?
Oh, where is it?
There we go. Ryder, you want to do Black Lightning with me?
Yeah, man, let's do it.
Black Lightning
was out this week.
Hands #1. Bam. It was a pretty good series.
Yeah. Well, yeah, issue so far anyway.
Oh yeah, issue.
Kind of
Focus on you. There you
read the
go.
older stuff, because I know, and I was kind of expecting Comicsology to have a sell on some of the older stuff, even though I have some of it.
Mhm.
But it kind of makes me want to go back and read some of that old stuff that I do have. But for the video purposes, I am holding up. Oh, I was about to say I'm holding up an ad for a car for Justice League, but on the front is Black Lightning, the issue of Black Lightning that we're talking about. So yeah,
And I guess they like retcon some things from his past. They like de-aged him a bit, I think, and changed his villain slightly. His nemesis.
apparently so. Yeah, I wasn't.
I read an interview. That's the only reason I know this stuff happened, because I'm not that versed in his background either. Besides, just the basics.
Yeah, and the issue does kind of go in and mentions something that happens to said villain, or a version of said villain.
Yeah, they like, oh, that person you knew, that was just my nephew.
Yeah, it was like, yeah.
And I killed him.
No, actually, that was her son. That was his nephew.
Yeah, his nephew.
His son, and he kind of took care of both of that.
Yeah. Is it bad that I laughed?
Oh no, got taken out.
Yeah. Just like,
And no, it was not that, because I honestly kind of shook myself. I was like, oh damn, and then I was like, that's kind of messed up.
it was messed up.
Like, yeah, I kind of laughed myself with that one.
But I like the art here from Clayton Henry, who has come over, I guess, from DC, from spending the last couple of years over at Valiant, doing a bunch of things for them.
Yeah.
So art was great. Story simple to understand.
Yeah, we definitely get to know. It's like, all right, we get caught up on what's going on fairly quickly.
Supporting cast is introduced. Boom, bang, boom.
Mm-hmm. And as it says here on the cover, a hero for today's headlines, and they're kind of not kidding, because they throw some stuff in the story that's could definitely be ripped from today's headlines.
But they don't like beat you over the head with it.
Yeah, basically. But it's there. So we'll see how this goes going. I think this is good. What, 6 issues? Yes, it'll be 6.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll be looking forward to check this out ahead of the show, which is coming next year.
Yeah, it's like a mid-season replacement, I think.
Probably, yeah, that sounds right. So, but yeah, if you're a fan of Black Lightning and want to check out what looks to be a good looking story that might go somewhere, check this out.
2 more issues. So,
Oh, it's a 3-issue series.
No. He's saying he's only got. Guys. So that being the case, I will. We can kind of go into rapid fire unless you got something, Agent 70.
I don't think we have any more crossover between our books. Let me check Tim's list. Just Guardians, but we could probably rapid fire that. Oh no, actually, wait. The other 2 books that Tim did, we both read. So we might.
I figure I mean, when I say even rapid can be like all of us talking about it.
Yeah. So let me see if there's something I want to get out before we hit the rapid fire stuff. I'm still recommending Black Bolt, the series, even though the Inhumans TV series has been underwhelming to this point, and that is being kind. This series does not fail to just be dramatic and well written, and the visuals are, while abstract, are still stunning. So I highly recommend viewers and listeners go back and catch up on Black Bolt, because this is issue 7, and this is leading ultimately to Black Bolt. This story at least is leading to Black Bolt returning to Earth. So we'll see how that goes. But without spoiling too much, it's a lot of there's something taken away from Black Bolt in the last issue that he's just coming to terms with in this issue. So there are there's definitely some things going on to pique people's interest. Let's see.
Sucrets.
What's that?
You just need some sucrets.
Yeah, pretty much. If that would be the magic cure-all, right? I actually want to touch upon Peter Parker Spider-Man number 6. This is actually in serious click of the week territory for me, because it took me completely off guard. The book delves into just to set the stage. If you haven't been reading this, one of an old Spider-Man storyline in which it was alleged that Peter Parker had a sister had resurfaced. That storyline established that this lady was not Pete's sister, but she reemerged and became a character in the story. And part of it is some good old-fashioned spy intrigue, and somehow J. Jonah Jameson, no longer of the Daily Bugle, but publisher of his own very not well-read blog, news blog, gets roped into the story and ends up having a one-on-one interview with Spider-Man. And how that all comes together is obviously contrived, but at the same time it fits the story, and they literally have a one-on-one face-to-face conversation about being Spider-Man and why he does what he does. And there's a couple things that happen in this that just took me completely off guard. And it does weave back into the greater story arc involving espionage, but there's a couple things in here I really don't want to spoil it, but it's so strongly written. I have to give Zdarsky a lot of credit on this. Actually, the art on this is actually a fill-in. It's not Adam Kubert. It's one second.
Michael Walsh, I think.
Yeah, it was a pretty, I hate to kind of speak down to a rather not unique name like Mike Walsh. Like, never heard of this guy. Who's this guy? So shout out to him, for not dropping the ball on this and putting together a well penciled story, so that it looks like, oh no, there's a color artist. Ian Herring is a color artist, but Michael Walsh is the artist on the book, and He does not disappoint. It's not classic Spidey, but it's also very. It does depict the one-on-one conversation very well. So this is a serious candidate for Click of the Week for me because of how surprised I was at how effective the story was, and the rather surprising twist that happens within the setting of the one-on-one interview. So, in any event, even if you haven't read any of the other issues in this, this is actually still a fun kind of book to read on its own. So, like I said, it's a serious Click of the Week candidate, and that pretty much covers what I've got that doesn't cross over with Tim.
Okay. So, you want me to go to my 2?
Yeah, and I'll chime in. It'll be our rapid fire.
You want to play the rapid fire music?
You got it. You know what? I'm going to spin up the Vulcan. There we go.
I'll stay on the Spider-Man tip with Spider-Man number 234, the Miles Morales variety. So this is his first Marvel Legacy issue, and we have a new incarnation of the Sinister Six, led by the new mysterious Iron Spider. We have Iron Spider, Bombshell's mother, also called Bombshell.
Right.
Sandman, Spot, Electro, and Hobgoblin. They don't really say which Hobgoblin this is, so is this the same like young one that was in Dan Slott's Amazing Spider-Man run?
Like you said, it's kind of hard to tell at this point. That the further along we get into the story, I'm sure they're going to explore.
But I also think Hobgoblin, played a factor in the Spider-Woman series.
Exactly.
Was canceled. So I guess maybe whichever one that was. It's hard to keep track nowadays.
I think that was Roderick
Kingsley.
Kingsley, yeah. In fact, I think I'm
thinking back a couple years ago when there was like 2 Hobgoblins. It was Roderick, and then it was a young guy that used to work at the Bugle, I think.
Yeah, this might be that dude, I think, but I'm not sure.
I don't know which one, but it doesn't really matter. Because the most important thing is we find out the identity of the Iron Spider, and I was right. And I wish I had tweeted this out on Friday when I was looking at preview pages.
We won't spoil it, but yeah, it was actually pretty good. I didn't figure it out because I guess I hadn't been paying much attention to the book.
Well, no, I mean, there was no like setup for it.
Right.
I was looking at preview, preview pages come out on Fridays for Marvel. So last Friday I was looking at preview pages of it, and they showed the person in like a trench coat, but there was one panel that kind of like showed just his like lower face area.
Right.
Because he had like a trench coat and then like the big hat that covered half his face, but you can see like from his nose to his mouth. And I was like, oh, I bet that's so and so.
Gotcha.
Just just taking a guess, because who else would it be that would be that important? And I was right. I was actually surprised that they revealed it so quickly. I thought that might be like a mystery that would linger on.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
No,
and I like the heist.
It sounded like Bendis. Yeah, I was going to say it sounded like Bendis wanted to get to that part of the story.
And I like the heist that was set up.
Sure. I just wanted to speak very quickly to the human side of the story, and I was not a fan of Bendis kind of doing gold balls like that.
I understand that. That's like
that was weird.
Yeah, that whole thing was weird. And Miles doesn't know if he wants to be Spider-Man, seems like.
Yeah. Do you think, I really don't think they're going in the direction of changing his code name or his identity. Unless he wants to be like the Amazing Bagman version 2.
Part of me thinks that they're going to come up with an entirely new identity for him.
You think?
Like Spider-Gwen. They can't just, I guess they could just call him Spider-Man, but I feel like he's gonna be he'll be like Ironheart. He'll get some other like something else to call him.
Interesting. I kind of got the feeling that they were going to keep him Spider-Man and just have multiple Spider-Men.
It's possible.
Yeah. All right.
And the last one is Guardians of the Galaxy 146.
Yes.
Which is also the first issue of its Marvel Legacy. I like how all these, I guess except maybe Spider-Man, but a lot of these Legacy titles that renumbered just coincidentally happen to renumber like maybe 5 or 6 issues before like a big 600, or
Mm-hmm.
Mighty Thor did it for 700, and
Right.
Guardians is 5 issues from 150, and yada yada.
No, absolutely.
But anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with this issue.
Yeah, it gets to a big anniversary story. That's of course. So
is the numbering actually correct?
Listen, they try to show their work, right? Like they make us do in school. So we'd have
their work be wrong.
Yeah, we'd have to double check. So this issue follows directly from some of the recent events that that have happened in the book, in terms of the reveal of who the current Raptor was. That was the Talon, actually. That was harassing the Guardians, and we found out who that was. I'm not going to spoil it, just in case you're a little behind.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of amused at how they're trying to restart the Nova Corps.
They're kind of a joke, but okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but at the same time, they also don't seem they're it doesn't seem like these Novas have access to the Nova Force. These are much more in line with the movies, the Guardians movies.
Oh yeah.
So, they're kind of like just dressed up to look like Novas, but they don't have any intrinsic powers, or at least access to the Nova Force.
And they're joining the Force to. Is it
the Guardians are, yeah.
To try to find.
There's a traitor in the midst.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, a traitor in the midst.
There's a traitor in their midst, and the Guardians have been recruited by one Scott Adsit, who is basically running the Nova Corps, to investigate. And the Guardians are split up. There's the reemergence of a storyline that I thought had been resolved because of recent events in I forget which Avengers book had the reemergence of Hank Pym and / Ultron. I thought this had been resolved. I'm like, what? They're still out there?
Well, he was in Secret Empire for an issue.
Right. So
nothing was resolved there. He just kind of like showed up, and now he's back in space.
Yeah. So that I guess that follows continuity wise, I guess. So, all right. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like
all that really happened, along with Ant-Man getting some screen time.
Sure. They also finally let Star-Lord in on the not so well kept secret that Richard Rider is now back amongst the land of the living.
Who's that?
Richard Rider.
Oh yeah. Which we already knew, but
right, he didn't. So that's that. Alrighty, Roddy, you got anything left for rapid fire?
I do. 3 books, real quick. DuckTales number 2. This book takes, apparently, I don't know if this issue or this whole volume takes place. Well, this story definitely takes place before the events of the TV show that is about now. In fact, the reason why that is because it has to do with a certain duck that reappears during the course of, or apparently is going to reappear. Because I haven't kept up with the show. I need to catch up with the with it. But there's a duck that shows up that is a fan mystery for a long length of time, and that is Huey, Dewey, and Louie's mother, aka Della Duck. And this issue is 2 2 little short adventures with her, Uncle Scrooge, and Donald, which apparently has nothing to do with the show, but the first page clearly says it is set before the events of the show, so something in the show is going to be affected by, I guess, the fact that she's in this book now and not in the show, or probably is in the show at this point now, because I know she has come up. But that's it. That's pretty much what it is. Like I said, it's just 2 little quickie adventures with them. It's cool. Like I said, this is a nice all-day book for DuckTales because of the show. So, next up, First Strike Mask number 1, which is a slight misnomer because no members of Mask show up in this book whatsoever. In fact, so what?
I said okay.
Yeah, in fact, this issue takes place after First Strike G.I. Joe number 1, which there was a battle between G.I. Joe, some members, G.I. Joe, Cobra, and who also has some members of Venom recruited. And like I said, this takes place after that, and Shipwreck's in charge, and he has no idea what he's doing, clearly, but something ends up happening. Because at the end of G.I. Joe First Strike, there's this big giant cobra that happens to robotic cobra that shows up, that is made from the Venom vehicles, or the newly recreated Venom vehicles. So they're basically, it's almost like a transform, but it's just a big cobra. So the G.I. Joe team is trying to take that out with the assistance of Skywarp, and at the same time trying to protect this artifact that Cobra is looking for some odd reasons. But if the last page of the book is indicating anything, it may have something to do with a movie villain who in a dream sequence shows up, or is being called out in a dream sequence at the end of this issue. Which that's a weird callback, but then again, this is a weird universe altogether. So yeah. And I'm not talking about Serpento, so if you know who else was in the G.I. Joe movie, then yeah, go there. Last but not least, Catalyst Prime Noble number 6. Let's see. I actually forgot what happened last issue, but it kind of doesn't really, it's not really necessary, because you see Astrid, who is David's wife, has been captured by Lorena after trying to find David, and that did happen last issue. He escaped, but apparently his wife got captured, but that's okay, because his wife is pretty badass and she can take care of herself. Lorena is trying to explain her motivations to Astrid while they're flying somewhere, I guess, trying to they're following David after he escaped last issue. Meanwhile, David himself, who up until this issue did not have his full memories, found his way to Houston, where some memories are starting to come back, and he gets met by this other doctor who was there when he supposedly died, who was trying to recruit him for some reason, potentially what it sounds like against Lorena Payan, who's the kind of, you almost can say, is the big bad of this universe, who actually started the whole big theory. I mean, the event that caused people to get their powers in the first place for reasons that only she knows. But yeah, so there's this other doctor who ends up having to get powers, who's trying to recruit David, who also gave David back his memories of his wife and his kid, and for reasons that he did so, which leads off to, at the beginning of his book, we see once again another real kind of a out of the headlines situation of a guy in jail, of a black dude in jail for apparently doing something to a cop who killed his brother. But he also gets let loose from the jail by the self-same doctor, and somehow gets powers by the self-same doctor, and he ends up coming up at the end of the book, approaching Lorena's plane, who is with the intent to cause some issues. But yeah, like I said, this universe is still kind of going strong. This is probably the crux of the main stuff is going on in Noble, and all of the other books are kind of in their little cursory areas. So if you're looking for a book that probably has most of the main stuff as to what is going on in the universe, this would probably be the book you want to check out, and everything else is kind of the world, in the world. So, but it is good, and you should check it out if you have any interest in the Catalyst Prime universe, because it's looking to be some pretty decent stuff, even if not slightly familiar. And that's all I have.
Clicks of the week.
I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's definitely. I mean, Noble was pretty good, but I'm thinking this is going to be between Black Lightning and Darth Vader.
I've got two candidates. I'm trying to figure it out right now. I'm between Captain America and Peter Parker Spider-Man #6. So I'm still thinking myself. How about you, Tim? You still thinking?
Oh, I have mine.
Oh, okay, go ahead. Give us some time to deliberate some more.
Mine is Spider-Man #234.
Nice.
The one I didn't pull.
Nice.
I'm a sucker for reveals, especially when I get them right.
Nice. I don't know, maybe I'm still digesting the events of Peter Parker Spider-Man #6. If I'm not if it sounds like I'm trying to hype up the issue so everyone reads it, I guess that's the truth. But I think the feel-good story of the week has got to be Captain America. So I'm gonna go with Captain America #695 for my click of the week.
Okay.
Well, I dare say shout out to Clue #5, which came out this week, which I didn't get a chance to read. But I think I am going to go with what seems like it's setting up something for current and future purposes, Darth Vader #7. And I'm hoping everything I said about that pans out the way I'm thinking it is.
All righty. Sounds good. So I guess we've got our clicks of the week out there, and we're going to roll into our first ad read of the night. And our first ad read of the night is actually a new script, so everyone's going to have to bear with me as I read through something pretty new. And our crack ad writing team has put together this week's ad. This first ad of the week is for Wink, Personalized Wine Club. Wink is a world of wine delivered right to your door. From rosé to Cabernet to Torrontés, Wink has over 100 styles of wine to discover. Ever try an orange wine? Wink connects you to a world of exclusive wines tailored to your tastes and delivered directly to your door. Wink delivers 4 bottles of wine to you every month with free shipping. You can pick your own bottles or let Wink choose and match to your taste. It doesn't cost a thing to become a member, and you can skip or cancel anytime. And now, the listeners of the Click Nation's Comic Book Chronicles can enjoy an exclusive discount of $20 off your first order. To place your first order with $20 off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us/wink. That's cspn.us/WINC. Wink Wines through cspn.us. Do it today.
Did anybody read that Powerback book that came out?
I tried. I couldn't get to it by the time I got home. I started like the first 3 pages. So I guess we're gonna roll into the news.
Hit it.
Spreadsheet. So cinematic news.
Sorry, I tried to drag that as long as I could.
Good job. Daredevil's former showrunner wants a Kingpin miniseries.
As long as it's not Scott Buck, that's fine.
Yes, don't let him ruin Marvel television anymore.
Seriously.
Or let's just get some new blood in there, because some of it seem like the same 5 or 6 people are doing all these TV shows, and we could get some new people.
That too.
But yeah, it sounds like they're
Iron Fist.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Iron Fist Jessica Henwick has started training for season 2.
Makes me wonder. I'm like, why ever stop, right? But I guess they want to take a break and like eat like the rest of us, right?
Yeah. They don't live and breathe these roles.
Seriously.
Well, that wasn't really sure. Probably wasn't sure at the time whether there was going to be a season 2.
She was in Game of Thrones?
Yes. She was one of the sisters. See, I know this. I know this reference now.
So was Finn Jones or whatever his name.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, Finn Jones was
They've been pulling people from Game of Thrones for almost everything. It's almost like what they did with Spartacus and whatnot.
Sure.
She's one of the sisters of the Sand People or whatever.
Yes. That's. Yeah, I was about to say you finished off what I was going to say.
Huh.
Anyway.
Anyway. Robert Downey Jr. confirms return for Avengers 4 in new photo.
Yeah, apparently he has a short chair.
Short stack.
Oh no! No shots fired.
Which kind of suggest you would think it almost kind of suggests he's going to have a, I guess, moving towards the cameo roles. I don't know, or he's got a bad back and he just needs a different chair. Who knows?
Sure.
He's our DJ and he thinks he deserves a different chair. One of the 3. We don't know.
Thor Ragnarok director Taika
Waititi.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Taika. I might be mispronouncing his last name. I'm going to take
Taika
a look.
Waititi.
Waititi.
I think it's just
wants to make a Marvel comedy with a surprising Avenger.
And that Avenger is who already had a pretty decent Saturday Night Live skit, Black Widow.
Ooh.
Now we know why fan favorite didn't return for Thor Ragnarok. That being Sif.
Yep, because Blind Spot was being filmed and it conflicted, and Marvel told her too late.
Right, and to be honest,
it saved her because now.
Yes, exactly. You got it, Tim. You got it right there. You took the words out of my mouth. Thank you.
Lives. Doesn't mean other people die.
So it was pretty good.
Thor Ragnarok cut a moment alluding to Valkyrie's bisexuality. Hulk and Rocket strike up a friendship in Avengers Infinity War.
Making someone I know on Twitter very happy as a Rocket fan.
Captain Marvel production start date shifts to February.
Does that affect anything?
No,
nope.
Not really.
Like in terms of release date?
And this is by some blog site, so we don't. I mean, even if it is true, I don't see what. I don't think it's gonna kill anything.
All right.
Like, what's a month?
Lawrence Fishburne is developing a secret Marvel project.
Here's hoping it's Dr. Bill Foster related, but I doubt it.
See, now this is to me. This is kind of related to one of the cameo appearances in Thor. To me, in my head, that we got that I did not know about, that I did not expect, and caught a really surprise reaction from the fans in my in my showing of Ragnarok. So to see like actors that really haven't been associated with the MCU, for the longest time, looking to, kind of jump in or, jump on the coattails. It's interesting to see. So, Lawrence Fishburne has been doing genre work, this particular genre work for a while. And to see him, developing something that I don't know if it's going to be just the Bill Foster stuff, but
no, I don't think it is at all, because it sounds like he came to them for something, and then they offered him, I guess, the Bill Foster part in Ant-Man and Wasp, which is possibly leading to something, whatever he's trying to do, whatever it may be, because he really didn't say too much about it in this article. And also, just as we know, worth pointing out that yes, he is playing both sides of the fence, because he's played Perry White in the Superman movie, and probably going to be in Justice League. We don't know. Doesn't matter. Bill Foster.
X-Men turns 25.
Yep, that was a couple of days ago, actually on the 31st. Happy belated Halloween. But we've already... If you got it somewhere, go check it out, because it was a damn good series.
Except the animation was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't hold up on rewatch now.
Well, especially like the season 2 stuff, because going into season 2 where they went to the more like underground, like some of that stuff was rough, but it's still good for the time. Like
the stories are good.
Yeah,
ripped straight from the comic books, as they like.
Gene! Gosh.
And the acting was a little over the top, but that was kind of the charm of it.
Gosh.
Marvel's New Warriors won't air on Freeform. Series would be shot elsewhere.
Sorry, AT&T girl. Hopefully y'all will land somewhere.
So that was surprising.
Yeah,
to me.
Happened.
Like Freeform dropped the ball. Couldn't find space for it in their programming.
Yeah, that's crap.
Oops.
Which, I mean, Freeform, if I'm not mistaken, is formerly ABC Family, which is it not still owned by ABC? So
I also remember hearing something about like the night they were going to put it on Thursday, it didn't gel with the other programming that was going to be on. But
oh no, autoplay.
So yeah, we'll see if it goes somewhere.
Black Lightning, Chantel Tui.
I've never known how to pronounce that. Sorry.
Cast as Grace Choi. There she is. Her comic book counterpart.
Okay.
Titans new cast and breakdown suggest major comics characters like possibly Roy Harper. And there was someone else I forget.
Yeah, I don't know. It says Danny Chase. Phantasm, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Possibly Elastigirl? This is what this thing is saying?
Yeah, that's the one I kind of remembered.
What you were thinking about? Okay.
Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam gets a writer. Okay. Wonder Woman is now the highest grossing superhero origin movie. Which like that's like
distinction.
I like the distinction of origin movie.
Yeah.
Legends of Tomorrow, The Weird Way Phone Home references Stranger Things 2.
Which sounds like it was a total coincidence. As I think both things reference ET, and that sounds like where if the title wasn't enough for you, referenced.
Legends of Tomorrow teases Constantine's arrival with a perfect script cover.
Yep. So if you're watching the video, you got a tie and a cigarette. Which, sure, trademarks.
Arrow season 6 villain Richard Dragon is someone very important to Diggle.
Whoops. I must have missed that one.
No biggie.
Oh well, no biggie.
First look at Katie Sackhoff as DC baddie Blacksmith and Flash Arrow crossover.
I first saw this picture and I thought she looked like Carrie Fisher in that picture. I was like, oh dang, that was weird.
Was Katie Sackhoff one of the people in the running for Captain Marvel?
Yes, she was.
Okay, name sounded familiar.
Starbuck of BSG and other things she has done.
Fox to develop Boom Studios Snowblind for TV.
Yep.
Wasn't familiar with this series, but good for them.
Yeah.
Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy teases Rey and Finn's future past episode 9.
Yep. Guess what? There was probably more than likely going to be more Star Wars movies. well past this last
with some of these characters, with some of these new original characters.
Right.
Surprise.
Luke Skywalker confronts his past in new Star Wars The Last Jedi teaser.
I wasn't gonna watch this, and then Thor Ragnarok had it right before the
I had the first trailer for that and Black Panther. I was like, there's newer ones out there.
Yeah, I did have the Black Panther one, the last Black Panther, but that was like, well, yeah, and then they decided to do this one, which is good.
I had the first Black Panther movie or trailer.
Really?
Yeah, first.
I got what Roddy got. I got the latest ones.
Yeah, I got the first Star Wars Last Jedi trailer and the first Black Panther trailer.
Wow.
Weird.
Like there was new ones released in the last month.
Goodness gracious.
Your theater's slipping, yo.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, and they did turn the lights. They didn't dim the lights for the trailers.
Oh man, someone's about to get fired. But yo, real quick, did you guys get any questionnaires?
Nope.
Oh, I guess I was in one of the. The study showings because they passed out questionnaires right before the movie, and they had us complete them at the end.
Oh no, there was just the same guy that does questions from one of the comic shops that I come through, does and giving out stuff. He was. Oh no,
it was like a Marvel thing. No, it was like an actual official Marvel questionnaire that you filled out.
That was something that happened in my theater.
Just in case, because we went opening night, I wasn't sure if it was just a particular showing or if it was the opening night period.
Did you get a picture of it?
No, I didn't take a picture of it because it was freaking dark. And I could have taken a picture when I was handing it in. That's true.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Sorry about that.
We've got a month and a half of movies coming.
Yep.
Or two big ones.
Yep. 2 more big ones. Yeah.
And last is Disney to theaters showing The Last Jedi. I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
But what's the deal with this? I didn't read it.
Voice, but yeah.
Something about they're charging them more to show the movie.
And they're getting a bigger cut. So,
no kidding.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
In cut of the ticket sales?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sound like this says Disney is insisting on 65% of the ticket sales revenue, up from a standard 55%, which Washington Journal calls a new benchmark. But it's Disney; they're strong arm; they can do that.
Yeah, seriously.
All right.
Before we go to the comic book news, I just want to say that if you don't know already, and you are a comic fan. And you did not know this already, Arthur Adams is on Instagram and
yes,
throwing some marvelously gorgeous art on his site, on his page. You should go check that out. It is Arthur art, all one word. He's done a Hela. He's done a couple of original Valkyrie stuff. He did a couple of. He's done some really nice stuff. Just go check his stuff out.
It's awesome.
And Mark Brooks too, which I reposted some of on CB Caps. So yeah, but yeah, Adam, go check it out.
All right.
In comic book news.
Yep.
Oh, let me scroll down. That was clickbait. Oh, Tomasi teases Superboy's future on a super team. So an interview about Super Sons.
And some stuff going forward from it.
In Batman White Knight, the Joker's plan to save Gotham begins with a modest proposal to Harley.
Which I meant to ask you if anybody read this week, because I thought y'all said it had been up for weeks. It's only the second issue.
I went back and I'm almost done with the first issue.
Yeah, I need to go back and check that out.
Harley! Sorry.
Bloodborne gets a tie-in comic book in February 2018.
Just like
with
other comics.
Titan Comics, I believe, right?
Yes, that sounds right. Yes, Titan Comics. Which, you know, hey, video game Titan Comics is a thing now. Been a
I'm not
thing.
even familiar with Bloodborne, so
It is a Dark Souls like that came out for Sony the PS4. So
okay.
yeah.
New Spider-Man PS4 trailer reveals more Marvel villains and story.
Yeah, so Sony had its Paris week, and there was amongst other trailers, there was a story. I mean, there was this trailer for Spidey, which the next one also is a story from. It was a pretty good trailer if you hadn't checked it out. It gives a little bit more on the villains, and shows Miles, and a little bit more gameplay. So check it out.
It's an interesting trailer because it revealed to me, you know, I'm not a fan of the depictions of Pete and some of the other characters in this. The costume, obviously, it's slightly altered, but the gameplay looks awesome. I know that Tim and I have both expressed the need for upgrading our consoles to play some of the upcoming games, this one included. But I'm not a fan of the way they've depicted Peter Parker in this so far.
Well, I think they have specifically come out and said that they are doing not necessarily canon specific stories in the video games, so that allows them a little bit more creative license.
No, but just in terms of his face, you know, that's all. I literally mean like what he looks like.
Right. I mean, I agree with you on that, but I'm just saying that seems to be their justification of why things look that much more different than what we know. Yeah. But yeah, the next one is also about the game, which is apparently the game, which this trailer also shows you can play as spoiler, which I'll go ahead and spoil it. Mary Jane, because apparently there's some spots in, like you can see it in the trailer. There's some spots where you can see Mary Jane kind of creeping around or whatnot.
That's crazy. Okay.
So apparently you get to play as her and not Miles for some reason, even though he is there.
Maybe he hasn't gotten bitten yet.
Yeah, we don't know if that's going to happen during the course of this. And if you did not know the big bad, I think, and obviously there's going to be some other ones, but I think the big bad is going to be Mr. Negative.
Yeah, that's one of that's one of them, if not the main one.
Yeah. But it sounds like they're making him out to be the big one. I'm not sure. Things could be whatever. Moving right along.
EA might discount Star Wars Battlefront 2 when The Last Jedi comes out.
Which that comes out next week, I believe. And it's also worth noting that Thanksgiving and Christmas, Thanksgiving, they'll probably discount it also because that's kind of what they do for some stuff. So it's possible. And also Last Jedi comes out like the week before Christmas. So take that for what you will.
And queer visibility interview. Elizabeth Beyer launches the big book of bisexual trials and errors.
It's just an interview with her about it and sound like it's coming out, soon-ish.
Spider-Man just revealed his identity to the last person you'd expect, which we kind of got into in
review.
The review.
Yeah.
And cosmic rays have revealed a new chamber in Egypt's Great Pyramid.
This is not a comic-related story, but
okay,
sounds like one.
I was about to say, I'm like, is the FF in there?
No, actually, that was the reason why I put this in there, because I was thinking. So scientists found out apparently cosmic rays, like it says, there's a hidden chamber in the Great Pyramid, to which people on Twitter were kind of, getting jokey about. And I put my 2 cents in on that one, and I was like, okay, so are we getting is this going to be a Stargate thing, or is this Rama Tut, or is this Apocalypse? Like, what we got going on here? That's the reason why I put that story in. Also, Assassin's Creed Origins is out, and it's seemingly a great game. Go play it if you are so inclined.
Cool. All right. So before we get to now that we are at the end of news, right? Is there any spillover?
No, that's it. Unless you want to talk about the fact that our one Tim DOWG did a nice article about Teen Titans from last week.
Oh, okay.
And more today and more coming.
Nice. Oh, and shout out to Chantal Tui or Thai. Good looking out there. Right there, looking at Google Images.
That doesn't help spell the name. Huh?
Yeah, no, I mean, I could look that up. You think I looked that up first? Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh, brother. So,
an article in Clickbait about why Morph was the best character in the X-Men animated series, and they're wrong. But
okay.
Not there if you're looking at the show notes, if you're catching the show notes.
That's funny. All right. So while I look to see if the IMDb page has a pronunciation of this lady's name, shout out to William Bruce West on Twitter. That's William B. West on Twitter, who tweeted at me that the Hydra 2-pack Marvel Legends has hit the Toys R Us shelves. If I was looking, guess what? I got it already.
Of course he does.
I was at our local TRU last week, and I did pick up the Hydra 2-pack, the Troop Builder 2-pack. So now I can actually have good old Cap, Steve Rogers, taking on the minions of Hydra and whomever it is I choose to put at the lead of Hydra, if not the Red Skull. Maybe actually, I don't think I have a Strucker character figure, but anyway,
okay,
I've got it. And I also want to mention that a product that we had talked about earlier has finally been released in wide, has finally been published in wide release. And I showed it off before the show. I didn't want to forget to show it off now. Now that it's after Halloween, any vestige of Halloween decoration is long gone in most big box and most stores in general. And what is taking its place? None other than Christmas. And what I was able to obtain this week is a Die Hard Christmas, the illustrated holiday classic written by Doogie Horner and illustrated by J.J. Harrison. We had discussed this a month or two ago, if not more. It is fun. It is awesome. I definitely recommend that our listeners and viewers go out and get it. And damn you, IMDb, you don't have the pronunciation of this young lady's name.
I still want to say it's Stewie because I feel like there's been someone else by that similar name, but I don't want to butcher it, so I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, killing me. Killing me. All right, so with that, we come to our last ad read for the night. Let me tell you about Skull Candy. Skull Candy makes the best headphones, earbuds, and gaming headsets, all with lifetime warranties. Skull Candy produces many types of audio accessories, including headphones, sports earbuds, Xbox and PlayStation gaming headsets, DJ headphones, and iPod and MP3 headphones. And now, for the listeners of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, Skull Candy offers free standard shipping on your order. To help keep our podcast free, order from Skull Candy by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcasts free link. Click on the Skull Candy banner and then shop for high-quality audio accessories with free standard shipping. Skull Candy Audio through cspn.us. Do it today.
And make sure to follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at CBCron. Agent 70 is at Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram.
There you go.
Roddy Cat is at Roddy Cat and at News Nerds Need.
Oh, Roddy's showing off something he pulled. What is that? Is that a Funko Pop keychain?
Yeah, I've had this for a minute though. So
okay.
The next movie I'm excited for.
There you go. Yeah, I guess we're cautiously awaiting the arrival of Justice League in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, I guess Last Jedi too, but whatever. Yeah.
And make sure to follow PCN_Dirt at PCN_Dirt and go to his website, popculturenetwork.com.
Shout out to Dirt.
And with that, we are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are signing off.
The opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood. It's all
Here it is.
It's Dr. Doom.
What's on your evil mind? Oh, you insult